Good evening, everyone. I'm Rohit, and welcome back. I'm welcoming back you all to the second day of the puzzle series, which has been started by our own club. And so, as we speak, we are going to cover up five more puzzles today, for which answers have already been received in the main group. But I want to explain you the thinking process that is involved in solving these puzzles. So without further ado, let's get started. This is the first position we have in here for today for today's video, and it's black to move. Let me just create a new scripting, and it's black to move here, and black has to win it. Okay, so basically, what you have to do is you have to achieve a checkmate here. You can see that the material balances are equal, but this king actually both the kings are being far very weak in this point because this king on h3 is basically one checkmate away. It's imagine that this g3 pawn is not there. So this king is basically one checkmate away, one check of queen away from getting mated here at this point. Okay, so whereas if you see the black king is also in all sorts of danger because if this knight moves somewhere, let's say to e7 or d8 to b8 or b4, d4, anywhere, then there is a discovered check, and thereafter black will have several complications to bring this game into an equal position. Okay, so it's black to move here, and since it's not white to move, we will not be able to solve it through white side, but we have to solve it through black side. What's our thinking? Like I said, the queen on e4, if you observe closely, has the threat of queen h4. But the main problem is the pawn on g3 is having a troubling issue. I mean, if you place the queen on h4, it's not checkmate because it does not make sense, right? Pawn can capture, and why will we keep a queen deliberately on a square that is being controlled by pawn and king two times, right? You think like that, then you're probably missing the detail of this move. So queen h4 is the correct move here, and many of you guessed it quite correctly. Reason is what happens if I play queen h4 is if I play queen h4 here, then as you correctly say, this pawn is capturing on g takes h4. But can you see this monstrous g pawn here? Can we move it one square upwards here? Now can you see the magic? The g4 moves up. It's checking the king. It's checking, and it's also getting up the rook as well. But what is more important thread here? When you play g4, after queen h4, g takes h4, queen h4, g takes h4, and g4, notice that king cannot go back to h2. Neither can he come forward to h4 because both the pawns are, blocking the access to the squares. And also, this g4 cannot be captured in any way because the rook on g1 is staunchly protecting this g4 pawn. And believe it or not, it's checkmate and curtains for white. And white king can basically stroll over. So that was the solution. Solution is queen h4, g takes h4. And g takes h4 is also a forced move because king cannot run to g2 as rook is guarding there. So queen h4, g takes h4, g4, checkmate is the solution of first. Let's move on to the second. And here is the second puzzle. Let's uh, just a minute. Here is the second puzzle. We have white to move in this position and how to think. Again, a very big problem of how to think in these kinds of positions, right? So Let's move forward. So if you see what are the threats of black, here it's white to move. But can you see any threat that is being imposed by black here? No, right? Yeah, I can see one threat, which is he's promoting this pawn to a queen on the next move. If we allow to do so, okay? Because white has the control to play their next move. So therefore, black has to wait to get a promotion done. Okay, black is waiting. He's just expecting white to resign here. But white says not so fast. So he tries to apply some trick like rook g6, attacking the bishop. Black says, I don't care about the bishop now, I'm queening. So rook g6 doesn't work. Okay. And c4 also doesn't work. In any case, this queen is not being stopped from promoting on the next move. So this narrows down the thinking to the process that what we have to basically do is give an immediate threat which is more important than promoting the pawn. And the immediate threat that I, as a chess player, can think of is checks. And since white is losing anyway without giving the checks, so therefore it is important to give sudden checks and either they cause stalemate or they finish off the game completely with a beautiful checkmate pattern. So can we try to find that from a treasure here? Yeah, seems so. So let's move on to the solution. Here there are two possibilities, and both only one of them is correct, and only one of them is a checkmate. What's the possibility? We can play rook g4 check. While being in an actual game, you have to think like this. The pawn on a2 is promoting to a queen. So how can I stop it? I have to stop it dynamically. How? I have to give repeated checks, perpetuals, or a checkmate, or a sacrificial uh, idea in order to generate a checkmate. In this case, perpetual, that is repeated checks, is not possible, whereas sacrificial checks are the only way to save the game, and stalemate is also not possible because pawns on g3 and g2 have to move even if the rook sacrifices itself. So, on this note, we can think of two moves here, rook g4 check and rook h3 check. Can you spot the difference between both the moves? I'm giving you 5 seconds. Yeah. I hope you would have been able to spot the difference in both the moves. What happens if we play rook g4 here? If you play rook g4, then bishop can take on g4 or h pawn can take on g4. Okay, both are possible. And in this scenario, king can move forward and it cannot be attacked through a check. That's one thing. What about rook h3? What about rook h3? Well, rook h3 also seems insane because this bishop on h3, bishop on e6 can capture on h3 quite easily. But notice that the king cannot capture on h3 because this g2 pawn, sneaky g2 pawn is standing there and defending its monarch. Okay, so what's the solution? Well, if you observe closely, what I said is this g2 pawn protects the pathway to h3 for the king. It prevents the black king from moving to h3, right? Can we use this idea to checkmate black king? Yeah, sure. As usual, as I said, rook h3 is the move, is the OG move. Why? Because if you go bishop takes h3, notice that this h5 pawn is blocking this king from moving backwards, and bishop on h3 is also blocking this king from moving forward. And diagonally backwards and diagonally forward movements are not possible because the king on f4 is sitting opposite to the black king on h4 and therefore is preventing diagonal escapes for the monarch. So, what's the solution? Solution is rook h3, bishop h3, and g3 check and mate. What a beautiful puzzle. You just have to slide over the rook to the worst possible square, which you think as worst possible, but it's the best possible move. It is the checkmate, and you ultimately get the king, even after you see that black has one, two, three extra pawns and one extra bishop, as opposed to only two pawns at your disposal. Still, you have gotten a checkmate. Chess is a beautiful game, right? I hope you will agree with me. Okay, let's move forward with the third puzzle. So here is the third puzzle, and we are getting it to you. It's a similar concept as of previous puzzle, so we will not dwell on it much. We'll just tell you the idea here. Here you see again the kings are on opposite side, and h6 pawn is avoiding, or h6 pawn is preventing this king to escape. I give you 5 seconds to guess the move. It was just the same concept as it was in the previous move. Okay, take 5 seconds. Yeah, I hope you would have got the answer. It's rook h4 here. Even though white is winning here, but what's the killer move? What's the shortest move? It's the rook h4. Short and sweet checkmate. Okay. Only move is bishop h4 because this g3 pawn protects this rook from being captured from the king's might. Hence rook g4, rook h4, bishop h4, and rook h4, bishop f4, and g4 check and mate. Okay. So moving forward to the fourth puzzle. So its next puzzle involves black to move and win here in this position. Now, this is a concept that is different from what we discussed in earlier three puzzles. Now, this puzzle is more oriented towards material gain. Okay, you see, what's the problem here? It's black to move, right? And this king is being checked by queen. So you would say that there are two safer moves for the king, either go h8 or to go f8, or third move is to go f7. f6 is not safe because then bishop g5 check follows, and hence it may not be as safe as it sounds. So, okay, so I think there are only three possible squares on which this king can travel safely. But is there any need to play safe chess here? Is there any need to always play for, like, I love the pieces, I love my country, and I love my monarch, so on and so forth? Absolutely not. You can search for as many tactics as possible in a position, and more often than not, you will get successful in implementing those tactics in your games as well. So black goes one step further. He sees that his monarch is in check, his king is in check, but he sees one step further. What's the one step further? Notice that this king, I will just mark for you in red if I am okay. This is a blue color. And can you see this beautiful rook g5 move here? Okay. This basically finishes off the game completely. Why? Because this king here and the queen here are on same line. I hope you are able to understand. Let me reiterate you again. The king and the queen are on same line, are on same files. Okay. By the way, this vertical structure is always known as files, and the horizontal square structure is always known as ranks. There are 8 ranks and 8 files in a chessboard, together making up 64 squares. Okay, so let's just look into this. Rook g5 check. This is a great move, right? Why? Because rook g5, first of all, pins this queen to the king, and a more intriguing thing is this queen cannot capture this queen on d7 because it's pinned and we are having a material up. So, what is the solution here? Well, the solution is rook g5 check, okay, followed by queen takes g5. That's the best possible move that white has. Then knight takes g5, bishop takes g5, and thereafter queen g4 and queen g4 check. Sorry, just a bit of error. Queen g4 check and followed by, let's say, something like queen f5 and then picking up the d3 pawn. It's more or less winning for white, winning for black. But rook g5 is a critical hammer blow idea to the white's king. I mean, white can even try to survive this, but objectively, this is a winning position for white and for black at this point. And white needs to play a lot of catch up and survival chess from now on. Okay, so the answer is rook g5. And how I will derived it? I looked at the weakness. I saw I am having a check. I saw that my opponent's queen and my opponent's king are on same line. And I also saw that this queen is attacking the white queen if the bishop decides to capture this rook on g5. So I combined all the three elements into one single cocktail element, and here is the result. Rook g5 is a check that you desire for in your chess career to find at least one time. Okay, so let's move on to the last but not the least puzzle for today. And just a minute. Sorry for and I will just share this thing. So the last puzzle of the day, it's white to move here. And if you have watched the previous video, you will instantly answer this puzzle without even thinking. Okay. See the position, knight on b7, bishop on g7, queen on b6, rook on f8. Okay. And there are five pawns, three on king side and two on center. Similarly, white has five pawns, two bishops worth 3 points each, a rook, active rook on e1, and a queen and bishop battery on d5 and b3, staring at this f7 weakness. So sorry, staring at this f7 weakness for white. Just a sec. If you can see this, that's well and good. And this battery is way, way powerful than it actually seems so. Okay. So I hope I have given enough hints for you. What you have to do, basically, you have to think what is the move which helps me to achieve the back rank mate idea. Okay. And your answer is here. And in this position, if you get a live position, live board position like this, then what's your thinking process? Well, I'm thinking for something like rook e7 here, brave choice. And okay, now when I play rook e7, I see that knight can also come to d8, and then the position gets more and more complicated. And plus, a very very obvious move from my side is to go for bishop takes g7 and then go for rook e7. But unfortunately, knight d8 defenses f7 square thrice. Okay, king, rook, and knight. So it doesn't work. What if we shift the order and play something as bizarre as queen takes f7? Well, it forces our friend to go to capture this queen using the rook, and then we can deliver a stunning rook e8 backline check because this bishop is spinning the rook, and hence this is a backline checkmate. Only move is bishop f8, then rook takes f8 is obviously curtains for black. Okay, now you may ask if he goes queen d5, queen f7 check, then if he goes king h8, then what to do? I will leave this part as the judgment of our viewers, and I hope they are intelligent enough to figure out the answer as well. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for being patient and we'll see you soon. And thank you so much. Support Nilgiri channel. Take a pledge to solve at least one puzzle daily per day, and you will be able to see a lot of improvement in your game in coming months. As I said, practice is the way to success, and consistency is the key for regular practice. Okay, so on that note, I would like to conclude the session. I would like to conclude the video explanation. I hope you would have found it useful. If yes, then please like the video and share it to your friends, and subscribe to the Nilgiri channel as well. If you want to have access to more such videos or more such puzzles, you can join the Nilgiri chess group if you are from Nilgiri House of IIT Madras. Okay, thank you so much for joining in, for seeing this video. Good night. Good night. Signing off.